Episode 254 of the TV Dudes, recorded October 2nd, 2019. Rise and Fall TV. Gentlemen, it's time for the annual TV Dudes Fall TV episode.
It is. It comes around every year, about this time of year. You know, summer
fall.
In Texas.
Yeah, it's fall, so it is in Texas, so it's 95 degrees outside
July
right
71st.
Yep.
Yeah, Rise is very indicative of like the sun coming up and just like destroying us, and that's kind of what falls are like here.
And the rise in temperatures across our planet. Yeah, it's it also ties into one of the shows we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss a bunch of fall TV. We're talking about Emergence over on ABC and Stumptown over on ABC. We're going to be talking about All Rise over on CBS. We're going to be talking about The Unicorn on CBS, Perfect Harmony on NBC, Sunnyside on NBC, and of course, The Good Place returns on NBC.
Ooh, dessert.
For its final moral dessert.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, we've got a lot to dig into right now. We're the TV Dudes. I'm Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And we're just going to jump right in, guys. So
there's a lot of TV. Let's go.
Yeah, so there may be spoilers. We're going to try. We'll tell you which show we're talking about if you're really worried about spoilers. But let's jump into Emergence. This is ABC's new sort of supernatural procedure, mystery-themed thriller. It stars Allison Tolman, Clancy Brown, Owen Yeoman.
Alexa Swinton
and Alexa
plays
Swinton.
Piper.
Yeah. So Les, what was your experience coming to this show?
So. And we'll get into this in another episode, but I watched the upfront for this, and it looked like Manifest. It looked like there was a plane. It seemed like a standard regular network wants a main big three network wants a Lost Mysteries style show
for sure.
And then there was something about the production of it that it had changed studios or been made and then dropped or something. There was something that added to this, like, is it damaged goods rumor mill?
So it was a pilot on NBC in January 2019. And then after that, the pilot was written by Tara Butters and Michelle Fazekas, which I know that name. They've worked on a variety of things.
Yeah, they worked on a ton of stuff together.
I feel like they wrote Captain Marvel, to be honest. And then after the pilot was completed, NBC declined to pick it up, and ABC ordered a series. So there was a bit of a tumultuous thing. There's something there because ABC grabbed a show that had been developed somewhere else.
Yeah. Tara Butters worked on Reaper.
They've worked
on a lot of stuff. They were writing partners together on a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I went to Comic-Con and had the opportunity to do the roundtables. So I got to talk to Donald Faison, and Owen Yeoman at that, and Alexa Swinton and Allison Tolman did their roundtables together. And as soon as they sat down at San Diego, you could feel the energy coming off of both of them. Mm-hmm. They are so good together. And I mean, Tolman's great. This kid's going to take the world over for real. Like, she is the busiest 10-year-old on the planet. And but they're spectacular together. And I thought at San Diego, like, wow, if this comes off on screen at all, it's gonna be a pretty good show. And the general buzz, because I think they showed the pilot at San Diego, the general buzz was that it moved a lot faster than people thought. Like, people really expected this to be a network show that was going to really drag out the mystery, and it doesn't. It clips along pretty quick. You find out a couple of things that I really would have thought had been like third episode drops, that you find them out in the first episode, which is pretty cool. When I finally sat down to watch it, I was really surprised at how much less tropey it was than I thought it was going to be. Same.
When I saw the trailers, and I love Allison Tolman. I mean, I've been in the tank for her since Fargo season 1.
Oh yeah,
and I loved her in her bits stuff on I'm Sorry.
She was great on that.
She's fantastic. She's great in everything she's in. And I was like, why are you doing a procedural supernatural thing? Like, I've been burned by Flash Forward and Manifest and The Event. Yeah.
What was the one with the circular ocean thing?
I don't remember that one, but yeah.
Yeah, I watched that one for a few episodes.
Yeah, I've been burned by so many of these let's make the next Lost that I didn't have any expectations, and I still really don't. Like, Lost was Lost. Mm-hmm. But in going to watch this, because Allison Tolman was in it, yeah, it's a really great pilot. It may be my favorite pilot I've seen. for this year.
I was really impressed with it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Well, the characters make smart decisions.
Yeah, you pointed that out, and I didn't think about it at the time, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Like, people really they make a better, more believable decision as this weird stuff is starting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a like, oh, well, a bunch of weird stuff happens. Guess we'll just pretend like it's still a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah,
what is going on? Weird shit's going on.
The writers, I mean, this is the skill of the writers. You have to get to a place where your character, who is the chief of police, makes the decision to kidnap an underage child.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to get to a place where that makes sense. And they absolutely
Really
earn
quick.
it. Yeah. They absolutely earn it. Like the NTSB people who are not the NTSB.
I like the way that was handled.
Like that is hinky. And then this journalist who she doesn't fully trust, but who clearly knows some things, tells her about I love the bit where they're out on the beach and she meets Owen Yeoman's journalist for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he says, do you know where that plane launched from? He launched from that island. Do you know what's on that island? She's like, everyone knows what's on that island. It's a Homeland Security facility. And that's a great little bit of expository drop, but also of course they know what this is, and therefore this is what the stakes are. It's a bit of knowledge everybody has. It serves like three purposes at once.
It's very deftly handled. Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff like this in here. And the bit where where Piper's parents, in quote marks, show up and Tolman is instantly on it. Like at first she treats them like, oh, what are these the parents who lost a kid?
Yeah. She doesn't immediately distrust him like she's a crazy person, but she pushes just a a bit in a still respectful way, and they fail that test.
Yeah, and they fail it, and this is the thing. They fail it in a way where you don't really go, oh, these are mustache twirling easy people. It's like, no, these are professionals who had a cover, who ran up against someone who was smarter than them.
And they just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the way they leave the room is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a bit about this show that the mystery is just a hair better than I thought it would be.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what Piper is.
I can't easily go, oh, she's got blah power. I've read a bunch of comic books.
Yeah.
And I don't quite know what is up with her.
And it's not so mysterious. Like the other danger you get with this kind of thing is you go so far in the mystery that I don't care.
Yeah.
If it's 100 different mysteries, I just don't give a shit.
But I feel like Fazekas and Butters being so in charge of this show, I think they might actually know where they're going.
Yeah.
And have a plan.
There's a focus here, and you can tell the way all the characters are introduced. I mean, I also love Clancy Brown playing her dad.
Yeah.
Sort of plays against type. Clancy Brown tends to play bad guys. And he's like this huggable teddy bear of an ex-firefighter.
Swinton talked about how great he is on set.
Yeah, I believe it.
And that like she gets an acting lesson from him constantly of like, so today we're gonna, I think he taught her how to read through all of your lines during a day without taking any breaths between your lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like just rush through it all. He's like, we did a no breath read through. And then she explained to me what it was, and I'm just picturing like Clancy Brown with a 10-year-old on set explaining to her weird little acting workshop things. I'm like, kid, do you even know, like, it's the Highlander for fuck's sake.
And Donald Faison as Alison Tolman's ex-husband,
and
who is likable. Yeah.
I just saw him in probably my favorite movie at Fantastic Fest, The Wave. I forgot how much I love that dude.
He's great, and I loved him on Scrubs, but I have not seen him play sort of a more dramatic role.
And he's a cop here.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's not a cop.
He's got he's got a nice car. He's got some kind of
that's right.
finance
He's just
job
walking
or
out to
something.
her car at one point. But his ex-wife calling him up and asking him to do something crazy.
Yeah.
They play off each other very well. You can tell that he is like, what is going on? And she fires back with, look, can you do this or not?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, obviously I'm what do I need to do? I'm on my way to the car right now.
Yeah.
But also, you got to explain this. What is going on?
Yeah, there's lots of lines that serve like 3 or 4 purposes. Where you're like, okay, first of all, this is establishing who this character is. It's establishing why they didn't work as a married couple, but it's establishing that neither of them is the bad guy in this relationship.
Just didn't work out. Yeah,
and
he still gets along with her dad.
And her dad loves him.
Yeah,
and the story with the 2 kids, where it's her kid and then Piper, have this instant chemistry, and her kid's a little bit older and immediately just loves having a younger sibling.
Yeah. Well, now that you and dad are split, it's the only way I'm going to get a little sister. So
yeah,
I was like, that's great.
There's every character is introduced well, plays well, and the story elements are interesting. The production values, of course, are phenomenal.
There's at least 2 episodes up on Hulu right now. I didn't think I'd be recommending everybody go watch this, but it's really good.
It's really good. And yeah, and apparently Terry O'Quinn's going to be in it.
Oh, all right.
And I'm excited to see that.
I like Terry O'Quinn.
You guys know where all these shows come from? All these like Lost-ish type shows? You ever seen that J.J. Abrams TED Talk he gave?
No.
Yeah. He brings this box out on stage with like all these question marks around it, like the Riddler. And he's
Mystery
like,
box.
this is a mystery box.
Yeah.
And you tell people that there's mystery and you just leave it closed and you never solve it. And I'm not going to open this box.
And that's
and now there's a million shows like that.
But that's the problem is that, and that's one of the things that people have a problem with Lost was that while it had an ending that I was satisfied with, and Grant, if he were here, would talk about how satisfied he was with it. But a lot of people were unhappy because, yeah, they wanted answers. And I think the fatal flaw is everybody took what J.J. Abrams did well, and Damon Lindelof and all those guys, is that they built all this interesting mythology where you want to know the answers. And then unfortunately, they also adapted well, it doesn't matter what the answers are as long as the questions are interesting. And no, it fucking matters what the answer is.
Yeah. I think that's what surprised me about Emergence, at least in the first episode, is that I've gotten the feeling from so many of those Lost-ish shows in the last few years that they were gliding through their first episode knowing that they were just going to set up a ton of mysteries that I was going to be so thrilled with I wouldn't care that they got canceled before they stuck the landing.
Yep.
And I don't really feel that in Emergence. Like, this feels like the start of a movie that might not actually make sense and get all its – I don't know that it'll get everything tied up right.
I don't know that it will either, yeah.
But it feels like the start of a sci-fi movie and not an open-ended thing.
I agree.
How badass would that be if you had one of these types of shows? Heck, maybe this show does it, where it just builds up everything and then gets canceled. Like purposely canceled before it can end, like Hitchhiker's Guide
That would
style.
be terrible.
But no, but it builds up like the best, and then everybody's like,
So
it's so underrated.
And then as the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where the police show up and arrest everybody.
Right?
Yeah.
Too silly.
All right, let's move on to the other ABC pilot or the ABC drama we want to talk about, which is Stumptown.
Kyle, you loved this.
So Stumptown's right in my wheelhouse. It's based on a comic book by Greg Rucka. It is about a Portland amateur PI named Dex.
Dex.
Dex Perios.
Ex-military. And
she's got PTSD. She drinks. She gambles. She is a Greg Rucka character.
Gambles badly, too.
And she has a brother with, is it Down syndrome?
Yeah.
And she's got this buddy who runs a bar.
Yeah.
And she has an ex-fiance who died in the war. And
going to visit her on his, he stayed in a war zone on his R&R.
Yeah. And she
got killed.
And he married somebody else and had a kid with somebody else. And so there's all this sort of drama in the backstory. But where we come into it is that she is down on her luck. She has some skills, but she's not using them. And she has this marker at the casino. And the casino owner, who happens to be the mother of her ex-lover.
I like the female Native American casino owner, mafia
clearly
boss.
mob boss, yeah.
I like her. I liked a lot about this. I enjoyed the commercial for it, I think, more than you did, Randy.
Yeah.
I had never read the comic or anything, and the pilot is not high-energy Rockford Files quite enough for me.
No.
But it is enough for me to keep watching it. That's
where I came down. I
really liked this.
I thought it was a solid pilot in a genre that I love with Kobe Smulders as an amazing, she's a great lead.
In this genre, honestly, with me, it's yours to lose.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch at least 2 episodes of damn near anything that you put in the half-drunk PI genre.
And I wonder, by the way, before we get too far into
this. I really
this,
like Kobe Smulders.
Jake Johnson plays the owner of the bar, and he's great.
He's the owner of every bar.
Yeah.
He's drunk Spider-Man.
Okay. I gotta interject here.
Okay, so now I wanted to get to Kyle. We were obviously in the tank for this on genre.
Yes.
Is that part of the thing? You're not as big on the PI genre?
We're in the trunk for this one.
Well, I was gonna say, one of my complaints, Jake Johnson's great for the 2 seconds he's on screen.
Yeah.
This is something we were talking about a little bit earlier about these pilots and this fall TV, and you have to sell this show to advertisers. And I feel like this is a pretty decent commercial for what the show could be.
Yeah.
But it just everything to me kind of felt like the safe way to do this. I don't know. They kind of rushed. It's so funny because I was just so sure you guys weren't going to like this and we're going to be disappointed with it that I wouldn't even have to form an articulate argument for why. If I had to ding it for one thing, I was a little bored with it.
That's fair.
It just seemed like I I don't mean this to put it down, but like you could have put this on like a Law and Order type show or something like that for like the one action beat. And it kind of reminded me of something like that. All the stuff, the casino is kind of cool too, but you know, they have to do something with it, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that is one of the things that I think Les would agree with me on this, that it's not that this this is an amazing show right off the bat. It's that this is a good launch pad. And where they go from here, I mean, this is not the Terriers pilot. Yeah. This isn't, I instantly fell in love with all these characters and I can't wait to see what they do next. This is this is an interesting setup. I wonder what they're going to do with it.
Now, I love that Terriers pilot, but God, it would have been totally different if it was on like is this ABC or CBS?
This is ABC.
Yeah, if it was on like ABC or something, like they would have had to do that first episode. They would probably also try to do twice as many episodes.
Yeah. Although not so much anymore. I don't know if they still do that.
Oh, well, back then when it came out. I don't want to seem like I'm just coming down on this show to come down on it, but I had kind of high expectations. I love Portland. I love I got one issue of that comic. I haven't even opened it yet.
Yeah, see, I think
so. You just got home from Portland. I was like, man, is it because Stumptown's inaccurate? Like,
yeah, that's interesting. I think part of it is expectations. I think you had higher expectations than Les or I did. Les I think had somewhat high expectations for it, but like I was disappointed in that trailer. And I thought this was going to be kind of a by-the-numbers PI show. And therefore, when it was a little bit more than that, not much more, just a little bit more, I saw the potential of it. And Kobe Smulders is honestly a lot of it. Like, she really inhabits that character of Dex. Like, I think Dex is a great character.
I was looking up, there was a Rebecca Ramajan series from years ago, 2013, called King and Maxwell, that ran like 10 episodes. I think it was on TNT. I think it had a better pilot than this pilot. Like it was more exciting of a pilot, but then their case of the week and where they went with it, they didn't capitalize on what I did like about it.
Yeah.
This, I feel like, is not as exciting a pilot as I wanted, and like they definitely, there's another gear that they need to kick this into.
For sure.
You know what this pilot?
But it's still, the pieces they've set up on the board are stronger than other shows I've seen. Like I've definitely seen more exciting drunk PI pilots.
Yeah.
But I like the actors that got to rotate through for their couple of minutes in this one episode. Michael, what's his name? That's her on again, off again.
Oh yeah, the Detective Miles Hoffman, Michael Ealy.
Michael Ealy.
Oh yeah, who was great in Almost Human.
Almost Human. It's just a ridiculously pretty human being.
He's great.
I like the weird whatever's going to be competitive or not between him and Nick.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little seeds here. And I think that was kind of my takeaway of it. It was I completely agree with Kyle that there was a pulse missing a little.
Yeah. Wasn't there a child actor in this somewhere?
Yeah, well, there's her son, there's her brother, Cole Sebus.
And he does a great job.
Yeah, and I thought he was really good.
But there's the little kid that or the girl that's like, you're not a cop. Cops don't drive piece of shit cars like that.
Yeah. But that was just
the girl that gets kidnapped.
Yeah, but she's a teenager.
But that's just
okay. Never mind. I'm mixing it up. We have a bunch of other shows with child actors.
Yeah.
I was going to say this feels a lot, and granted it could go in either way, but this feels a lot like Whiskey Cavalier.
Yeah.
Like if these shows were in the same universe, and she was like the street level hero, and they were like the FBI, jet setting or CIA jet setting.
Oh, this can easily
level
cross
hero.
into Whiskey Cavalier.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I kind of like that for, its own thing. I don't think it's that great of a show.
So for one thing, one of the other things, this is what really put this over the top for me. There is a trailer at the end of this about what's coming up this season on Stumptown, which I did not watch, but I was told about. And what's coming up, I think even in episode 2, is that she has a detective mentor who sort of taught her detective skills. And that mentor is Donald Logue.
What?
Which has got to be a Terriers reference. So basically, I think it's a Sideways Terriers reference.
Good.
Oh, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have even tried to argue that it's not a good show.
So I can't wait to see that. And I think it's just a one-shot guest star thing. I think it's just like he's the guy who taught her how to be a PI or how to find people. And if that's not...
she's got like finder skills from the military.
If that is not a Sideways Terrier reference, I don't know what is. Like that's got to be that these guys are fans of Terriers. And if they're fans of Terriers making a PI show, then I want to support that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say nothing else.
I have my whole card to pull out in there, Kyle.
So we're jumping networks now, right?
We are jumping networks. Let's jump over to All Rise on CBS.
Dong dong. All rise.
So Randy, you're our mutual friend Nick Budd. Just recently kind of did his fall TV rundown on his Facebook post.
Yeah, and you guys think that we watch a lot of TV.
Oh, man.
Nick watches a ton of TV.
And I love his opinions on it. He's very succinct, and I love his opinions on these things. And the way he phrased All Rise, I thought was perfect. Mm-hmm. There's Bluff City Law. There's a lot of lawyer shows. You either like lawyer shows or you don't. You like procedurals or you don't. But All Rise has its heart on its sleeve and a lot of fire and energy. And I would agree with that.
And let's face it, you're not watching Bull anymore.
Yeah. I am a sucker for lawyer shows, and so I loved The Good Wife, and I like The Good Fight. Not that The Good Wife was exactly just a lawyer show, but
it's in that ballpark.
Yeah, but I like Law and Order. Most of these things, I'm a sucker for. The heartfelt case of the week. For me, and it's something that I also like about sci-fi sometimes. I like watching shows have characters make the argument for the kind of moral shit that's going on in society.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I'll be honest, like I need a little lesson on the TV of like how to, okay, great. When somebody does go, so kids are dying, whatever.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I say to that?
Yeah.
And like sometimes it's fun to watch a TV show go, oh, this is what you say to it. And All Rise really fucking does that.
It's Simone Missick as a judge, right?
Yes. So I blanked on her name. Simone Missick.
Who played Misty Night.
Yeah. Oh. And so she's got just a steel spine and gets to
it's actually a metal arm.
Yeah. Gets to stare down. It's just crammed down her back. She just gets to stare down and tell some people to shut the fuck up a couple times. I mean, it's network television, so she doesn't get to swear like that. But she's great. The guy, Wilson Bethel, I think is his name, the actor that is playing her best friend. So she just made judge, and he's still the deputy district attorney, I believe.
Okay.
Across the first episode, you find out that he's got family connections. You can't do anything about your family, right? Mm-hmm. His dad is definitely some level of mob boss. He's operating all his businesses out of a pool hall, and your son's dead. So like, I've seen that where, lawyer kid's trying to make good, and his dad's a mob boss or whatever, but that dude's the side character in this show. I really love that she's got a white best friend. like she's that Simone gets to be the center of this show. Her judgeship, even her judge clerk, like assistant, is like, look, you just keep your head down. Maybe we get some justice done, but this is how you survive. Like, this is a job, and you have a long-term career, and you can't. She has to call out a corrupt cop at one point.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, this is career suicide. Basically, all the characters they introduce, I like the case of the week. I think if you have any level of liberal politics, it's really got its heart on its sleeve, and I think you'll get a kick out of the very earnest Mr. Smith goes to court kind of vibe. But separately, it has these side characters with these little bits of backstory, like the dad that's clearly doing something shady, and these little they do a similar thing to Emergence of having tiny little interactions, say 3 or 4 things at once. And the chemistry, whoever cast this thing, the chemistry between the actors is instant. There's a very earnest new lawyer that's clearly having some kind of domestic problems at home, and she and the security guard at the court, who is about to finish law school and get to become a lawyer himself. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be told in the script that they're gonna have a romance or something. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen 2 actors click that fast on screen where like y'all have to get together. Like, what the shit? I don't know if your characters do or not, but like whether that was meant or not, the writer's room just changed their plans.
Okay.
So if you don't like lawyer shows, there's absolutely no way that I'm going to sell you on an earnest procedural case of the week. Let's fight ICE with a brand new judge. Kind of show. But if watching Misty Night slap ICE down in court sounds appealing to you, All Rise is great.
Yeah, and the funny thing is the first part of that, I'm not a lawyer show guy in general, but watching Misty Night slap down ICE in the middle of a courtroom, that appeals to me.
Yep.
And
that's episode 2.
I also look and see that like there's a a public defender who's in the process of divorcing her husband, who she has a restraining order against.
That's who has chemistry with the security guard. She's great.
So that tells me, and the security guard wants, this tells me that they're going to not just like do like case of the week stuff, but they're going to explore where the faults are in the law.
And the way that they talk about her, the way that you know she has an abusive relationship at home is doled out really nicely. The court reporter sees her in the bathroom and says, "What's on your hand?" And she's like, "Oh, that's motor oil. So-and-so threw a carburetor at me this morning."
Mm-hmm.
Or so-and-so took the carburetor out of my car and then put it through the front window of the apartment. And she's like, "What the like?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, I threw it back." Like, what?
Yeah.
Took the bus. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's really all, like, you know, she's in an abusive relationship.
Yep.
You know that this has gone on before.
Yeah.
And that everybody knows about this and is like, what the fuck, you're back with them?
Yeah.
It was real. It felt very like, no, I got this. It's fine. What? I hit him back. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
is it though? Also, you came to court. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of little tiny things that it's kind of like Emergence. Like this could easily be tropey, but you're handling it just a hair better than my expectation. And the chemistry is so good that I'm actually going to keep watching this.
So let's jump genres and stay with the same network and talk about The Unicorn over on CBS. And the first thing we got to do is talk about the elephant in the room, or maybe the unicorn in the room, or the unicorn that's not in the room, which is that.
Can I just go on the record before you say it?
Yep.
I'd never heard of this before.
I am so surprised that you've never heard of this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm familiar with the concept, just the name has never.
So the unicorn in this show refers to Walton Goggins playing a widowed father of two girls.
And a very un-Walton Goggins character, I might add.
He's a very like normal dude.
Yeah.
No crazy laugh.
Yeah. No, he's just a normal dude, but he's Walton Goggins. He's a good looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a stable dad who basically his wife died a year ago and he has not been dating and he's not been picking up any of the signals from all the single moms who are interested in him.
Yeah. And I mean, he's your factory fresh. Actually, you're certified certified pre-owned.
Yeah.
Because he's not slept with any. He's been monogamous for 20-something years.
And so his friends, his two married couple friends, decide that he needs to get back out and start dating again. And one of them explains to him that he is a unicorn because he's not like all the other guys in the dating state. He's very unusual. He's very rare. And at no point does anyone say that's not what a unicorn is.
Well, and particularly in this world where they're discussing this, like they bring up that you're a unicorn because somebody's sister is all over all the dating apps, and on the dating apps, that's what you are.
And they call you a unicorn.
No, it's not just that. Like Kyle said, you might not know that the term unicorn has already been claimed, but in the online hookup world, it very much has,
and it's known.
And it's not widowed white dudes.
Yeah.
It's women that it's bisexual women that couples are trying to pick up and not have any kind of actual person relationship with.
Yeah.
Because you're not a person, you're a magical creature that they're wishing for.
Yeah. And the thing is, this would have been such an easy fix. All they had to do was do a thing where they're like, you're a unicorn. And he's like,
and Rob Corddry go, I don't think that's what, I don't know what that means. Sure. He's a unicorn.
Yeah. Or something else. Some indication that someone knows what this term means.
Yeah. That they made it all the way through development and nobody laughed in the room. Amazes me. That said,
what happened is I think Les and I went in prepared to hate it.
I really did. And it's so fucking good.
It's a really good comedy pilot.
Thank you.
Is it
Vindicated?
Michaela
Watkins and Rob Corddry are a couple.
That is such a hard name, but
don't always like Rob Corddry.
I don't always like her either.
I either like Rob Corddry or I really am afraid of him and I don't want him to know where I live. I either really like that guy or I can't stand to watch him. He's perfect as her husband in this, where he just keeps walking like.
Oh, the two of them is just
her
like
making
a duo.
fun of his voice of like, oh, she's so hot, what? Like, oh, fuck, I died.
Yeah,
oh, she's so good.
Their relationship is good. Omar Benson Miller, who's the other guy, he's from
Ballers.
Yeah, he and his wife, played by Mylin Robinson, are both really good. Like. I love the relationship these couples have, and these couples have. You can tell that these were all couple friends, and suddenly Walton Goggins' character is the single guy amongst all these couple friends, and they just want to help him out.
I love them. Like, man, remember when he used to love to cook and stuff, and then later on in the episode, he he turns a corner and he comes out with something he's cooked, and they all take a bite of it. And like, you know what I forgot in the process of all this? He's a terrible cook.
Terrible cook. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, he loved it, but it's bad. It's bad.
No, they did this thing because this is a comedy first and foremost, but they did this really like subtle dramatic thing with the deep freezer where after the wedding, he's got all of these frozen dinners.
Right after the funeral.
Yeah, after the funeral. And his whole thing is, I don't need help. I got frozen dinners, like I'll take care of my kids. I'll do this, da-da-da. And when he gets to the final, chicken parmesan.
Oh, God, he breaks and it's real.
Yeah, that I was like, damn, that is something, only a person in that situation or witnessing somebody in that situation if you could, write.
And that's why this show works, is because if you have anyone else in this, almost anyone else in this role, it's not going to work. But you have Walton Goggins, who's one of the strongest dramatic actors on TV, who also, it turns out, has a gear for comedy.
It's like finding out how good Tim Oliphant is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that everybody from Justified apparently has chops.
Yeah, and that they can all do comedy and drama.
Because when there's the really sad, scary, true moment that anybody who's, if my stepmom passed and I watched my dad go through coming home from work, collapsing in the living room floor as soon as everybody was gone.
Yeah.
And we'd have to send somebody over at like 5 a.m. to go wake him up in the living room floor and make him go to work.
Yeah.
And that's the level of like slow down and just stop that people do when they're grieving at that level. And when Goggins just slumps down into the cabinet and gets the chicken parmesan bowl frozen to his arm skin.
Oh yeah, it's stuck to his arm.
And his kids find him. And when his kids find him, I had that moment of like, oh shit, that's real.
Yeah.
Like your kids should not see any adult like this. They should not see their dad or their parent like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And see how, but at the same time they should know how hurt he is and bond over it. But I love this. His kids like see him and like, that's frozen to his arm.
Yeah.
We should call an adult.
I also, the kids actors are tricky. Mm-hmm. And these kids are great.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love that one of them is like reacts the way you expect a kid. Like, you can't replace mom. What do you mean you're dating? I'm not okay with it. And the other one at first seems like she's the more mature one. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out, no, she had ulterior motives.
Yeah. What I love, we see kid actors every year this time. And what's kind of nice about it and also kind of sucks about it is like every time you see a great kid actor, you get like maybe 3 years of that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like good kid actors are gone as quick as they come.
Yeah.
But when you do have some really good ones, it's like Trophy Wife years ago had some amazing kid actors. And I remember I was just looking them up the other day and I was like, damn, they're not even kids anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, that was my dream casting. But no, these two definitely for the next few years.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the daughters in, was that Better Things?
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of like very realistic, but then also like hit all of their comedic timing. Like knew like when they had to act like a kid in order to like make the jokes sell. Mm-hmm. Very smart.
Yeah, this is a really solid pilot, and I don't know. I'm curious with it going on what the show looks like, but I can definitely see a show.
Can I tell you my favorite thing about this episode?
Yeah.
So the whole show, they're kind of setting up like, oh, women want this guy because he's attractive, he's older, he's a dad, and he didn't do anything to like mess his marriage up. Like he's also a victim. And yeah. And like you're like, okay, I can imagine this. And then when they're in the restaurant at the very end, and he just like blurts it out, he's like, "My wife died."
Yeah.
And there's like people bringing wine over to his table.
Like, thanks, table in the corner.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like practically clapping for him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a hero. And this woman is just like, let's get out of here. Let's have sex right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, seriously? That's all it is?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine being in that situation, but it was so entertaining.
Yeah.
Just that whole last bit.
Well, and that could have been mortifying. It could have been a thing where you're just mortified for him, but you're like, you're not like mortified. He's actually like, he's won the lottery with this woman. It's like, oh, I've found the magic button that leads us to the end of the date where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, suddenly he's uncomfortable. He's got to deal with all this attention he did not want. And it turns out he doesn't want the sex either.
Yeah, I that was another very true moment for me.
Yeah.
When he's excited, like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
And like gets up and follows her, and he almost gets to the door and like, I can't do this right now.
It's not the first thing he wants. It's not what he wants back. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot of moments like that. And I think that's one of the through lines we're finding as we talk about this is that none of these premises are like super new and different, but the execution on all of them, the casting on all of them is really good.
Yeah. Which is also a lot of a lot of years is how we've had the opposite of like seeing a premise where you're like on paper that looks like the greatest show that I've ever read about, and then the execution is just that the cast chemistry is not there.
Yeah.
And the execution's a little slow, or there's the beats aren't quick enough or something like that, and it just dies on the vine.
To go back to one that I know you and I had a certain fondness for, but what just never came together was Abby's.
Yes.
Abby's had a fun premise, a great set, an amazing cast.
And I would still be catching up on episodes of it if it were still on right now, but I wouldn't be clawing over people to get to watch it each week.
Right. It never quite gelled, and there was something missing about it. I don't know if it's the writing. I think it was the writing.
I wanted it, honestly, I wanted to run it at like 1.25 speed.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted a hair faster.
I kept up with Abby's.
Did you?
All the way. So
I watched all of them.
I got DVR. Yeah, I DVR'd all of them. And what it became great for is, like, a lot of times my wife doesn't get into the same programs I do. This was something I could pop on, almost like a better Big Bang Theory. Like, how some people just leave that type of show on in the background.
This was like true old school sitcom for me. Yeah. It's kind of the groove Abby's. And that's why I say, like, if it were still on the air, I would still be DVRing.
Wait, they didn't get canceled, did they?
Yeah, they did.
In fact,
what are they going to do with that set?
that's actually, I said that to Tracy Percono and Lisa Katz from NBC, like the two, because I got to interview the two presidents of NBC right after it got canceled.
I love how Les likes it. How is this my life? Yes.
And I told him, I was like, but that set though, like I have never in my entire life, not since I was a child and realized, oh my God, they filmed these somewhere.
Yeah.
Have I wanted to be on a set of a television show?
Yeah.
But when they come back from commercial on Abby's, the camera shots, I thought, I don't even drink and that set looks fun.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while.
All right, let's jump. Let's keep with the genre.
Keep this network carousel going.
And let's jump networks. So we're going to talk about Perfect Harmony.
Dum, dum, dum.
Yep, NBC's.
Is that over on the Peacock network?
No.
Peacockin'.
There's no Peacock yet. Oh, those poor bastards. It's the worst name. So this is NBC's new must-see Thursday lineup. It is anchored by The Good Place.
Which is a great anchor.
Yeah, and then it's got Superstore, which is a solid show that a lot of people aren't necessarily watching. And then we had two new shows. One of them is Perfect Harmony. It's a musical comedy, and it stars Bradley Whitford as a former instructor at Princeton who winds up in Kentucky, the small Kentucky town that his wife used to live in.
Yeah, so it's another widower show.
Yeah, and she died. That's a weird. Is there a third one? Is there a trend of widowers this year? We haven't run into one.
Oh yeah.
Well, Stumptown, kind of.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There's kind of a widow kind of thing. Yeah, so is that the trend? Dead spouses?
Dead love interest.
Dead love interest. Weird. Okay. So Bradley Whitford is this sort of curmudgeonly guy
he's
who
been fired for throwing chairs, which we all had that band director.
Yeah. And he had to move to this small Kentucky town because his wife was dying and it was her last wish, and she died.
I don't even think he's moved there. I think he's just there after the funeral still, because he intended, and this was in the commercial. This was another one where the upfronts really laid out a show that I thought, well, that's going to miss me by a mile. Who gives a shit about that? And then I watched the episode, and the execution is better than I expected it to be.
Because describing the sounds, it doesn't sound great. And it sounds like, oh, he's dead spouse. And the first episode starts with him about to commit suicide in his car.
That was kind of ballsy.
And that gag is in the commercial.
Yeah.
That he's sitting there in his car going, honey, give me a sign or I'm going to eat this bottle of pills and finish this bottle of whiskey.
And
they butcher Handel's Messiah, and he's like, nope, not dying to that sound.
And he goes in and yells at all these people in the church choir and passes out. And it's funny, and it makes you like the character.
That speed we were talking about that's missing sometimes in sitcoms and comedies is not missing here.
No.
These people are so fast on each other's lines.
Yep.
The jokes are so quick. Geno Seegers that plays Dwayne.
Yeah.
That sounds like Darth Vader ate Mufasa.
Yeah.
He actually was Mufasa in stage shows of Lion King.
That makes a lot of
did that
sense.
in Australia and in the States. And he really does sound like that when he talks. But
I was getting a big John Henry vibe from him.
Oh, man. But he talked about having to really bring his A game to set because every single one of those people, like you may not know him as super famous, but they are real good at improv and comedy chops.
Well, when he goes into that church and I see that Anna Camp is the band director or the choir director, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Because I love Anna Camp. I love Pitch Perfect. And she's great here.
And that's what I feel like that's calculated in this.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of audience that they want.
Yeah.
People who are fans of Pitch Perfect, of Glee.
Yep.
And what I think would really just knock this home for me is Bradley Whitford, I think, is like the best thing about this. But something I was getting, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but it almost felt like Bradley Whitford was very much like grounded in reality. And they were all grounded in the musical sitcom reality.
Yeah.
And he was like kind of, what is going on? You guys are crazy. Like, and then next thing you know, they're like saving the rec center and now it's time for a mashup. I'm like, is this going to be like kind of a self-referential comedy, something like Community almost?
Right.
But making fun of that musical genre. And I think it's too soon to tell.
I think it's more sincere than that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a level of sincerity to it. And it's a thing that it could not work. Like when I sat down to watch this, with the person I was watching, I was like, okay, it was late at night. I need to do some TV homework. Let's watch this. And if it's terrible, we'll turn it off in 10 minutes. And we got to the end and she's like, well, it wasn't terrible. Like, it's not that it's like the most amazing pilot ever, but it is kind of the same stuff that Les was saying about All Rise. It wears its heart on its sleeve. And when it goes for its emotional moments, it earns those moments. Like when they use the music at the end, I thought that was a good little call. Like that these people had seen him, they were paying attention to him, and they want to do something for him. And then they wanted to pay him back. Like he is such a great character because everything he's doing is out of personal, grief and
even trying to
spite.
help them at first is just to fuck over the megachurch.
Yeah, which by the way, that guy, I love that the guy who plays. He's such a great douche. And the only trouble I have with this show, like the cast is good, the interactions are good, the setup is good, the music is great. I don't know what the show looks like because. This is all done.
I watched a mini episode that finished. They won some kind of thing.
This is all done. Well, they lost.
Yeah.
But
they found each other.
But it doesn't really matter. Is the whole season arc like, now we got to get better and beat this church? Like, what is the arc of the season other than like, the dating stuff? And I'm not sure what the ongoing show looks like. And that's my only worry.
What the series engine is that keeps making stories. Because they can't have a competition every week.
No. Well, I know the series engine is. 2 words. Bradley Whitford.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You can put him in anything. Like
I do love that it looks like Mr. Holland's Bad News Bears. Like, he's got this like down and out Richard Dreyfuss vibe. And I love that. I like Whitford in almost everything.
Yeah.
But you're right. It does feel like he walked in from a realistic show where like
he's about to kill himself.
Where he's like a genuine dramatic actor about to kill himself and wandered into Trial and Error.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Like this is like
wandered into Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, this is West East Hicktown or whatever.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting to me. I'm definitely going to watch to see what the show looks like because I think Kyle might be onto something. That might be kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
Or if it could easily go the route of, oh, this is sappy every week.
So far, there's been this is another in a set of shows this fall that have taken a premise that I thought, and then handed me a cast that oh my god, really made it sing.
One last thing. I imagine they're going to have songs every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it does kind of make you wonder because, like, like with Glee, the songs very much inform the story.
Yeah.
So if that is something, like, what are they going to do with it? Is it going to be more self-referential, or will they be sincere with it?
Yeah.
Are we going to get "Don't Stop Believing" before the end of it?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and I forgot what the name of their church is. It's like the second first.
Yeah.
The second first
something church. Yeah.
And they do have the slobs versus snobs thing going where they've got the big mega church and then these scrappy
that wouldn't let his wife be buried there, and the pastor that like might have been her first kiss.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if that was true or if that guy was just trolling him.
Yeah.
But I think it's true.
I think it might be too. I think there's going to be some history there that we're going to see.
Yeah. I'm with you, Randy. Like I was so much more impressed with this than I thought I'd be, and I'm really interested to see
What does the show look like?
Yeah, what are the rest of these people? Because the Dwayne and Wayne thing, she will always be my wife. I'll kill you. It's just fucking great.
Also, the way he asks her to date him when he's got the one letter out of order.
Yep. What's 8 dead?
What's eight eed? Yeah. So, all right. Before we get to our moral dessert, we have one more comedy, and that is Sunnyside over on NBC. This is Cal Penn and Matt Murray, and Mike Schur is one of the producers, and I think this is the one that I thought might be like the next big thing.
So, Kyle, you said, I think when we were emailing around about this, that like the jokes that hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when some shit in this was funny, it was real funny to me.
The cell phone tape of Cal Penn when he's like trying to bribe the cops.
It's gold.
Oh, I was dying.
And I love the people whose dad is clearly a supervillain.
Yeah, all of that stuff kills.
They're great, especially when one of them's like, "I learned something. I'm done." Like, it's amazing. I'm a miracle. Oh God, because he just goes off of like, "I'm a miracle. My brain is a miracle."
And you know what else? This whole cast is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody in this cast, from the Ethiopian surgeon turned Uber driver to the Dominican woman who's
got a job everywhere.
That bit was really funny.
When she stands up at the baseball
I hated
game.
that bit. That was
you didn't like that?
That's one of the things that killed me. When she stands at the baseball game.
So lazy. The joke of it is so lazy, though.
Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, if she has a bunch of jobs, if she has 3 or 4 jobs, but first of all, that's true and that makes sense. But if she happens to have a job everywhere they go, that's sitcom-y and hacky.
Like it felt sitcom. It felt like we had a computer AI write an episode. This is what we got.
Exactly. Like I thought it was a funny bit when she was talking about having multiple jobs, and then when they're at the library and she's like, "Oh, I'm stocking books," or when she stands
I go
up
on break in a minute, yeah.
Or she stands up at the ball game and starts selling hot dogs or beers or whatever the hell it was.
She makes it work. Like the cast is there for it.
It's not her fault. It's the writers.
It was the one that felt like a callback to like 70s sitcom. Like, this is just old sitcom joke.
It was a lazy joke and it was not earned. And
I liked it, but I can't disagree with anything you're saying.
But like the supervillains are like, our dad now lives in international water, and his sister elbows him and like, which is to say we don't know where he is, and we have no contact with him.
Oh, my favorite joke the whole episode is she takes this stack of cash and she goes, I'm sorry, this is used. Do you have recycling here?
Oh God, that's right.
That was great. The central engine, unlike the Perfect Harmony, the central engine of the show could not be clearer. This is going to be about the immigrant experience, which is real fucking timely.
And redeeming Cal Penn being a shithead who didn't appreciate.
Yeah, getting back to his character being the idealistic guy he was when he got elected. And I get that. Like it's not unlike Community. It's a bunch of people who have no reason to be together except for...
and he's definitely Jeff Walker.
And he's
Winger.
He's Winger. But it doesn't sing yet.
Yeah, I don't... The idea that this is going to want to become Community is the most hopeful thing about it to me.
Yeah.
Because the ingredients are there. The cast is trying. The writing's going to have to get sharper.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the biggest thing is that
this one walks so close to so many tropes. I mean, like the other shows were basically taking trope shows and then just exceeding their mandate. Like,
yes.
You know, they were just doing more than they really needed to do at that pay grade. This show is doing a knife's edge dangerous thing where they've decided to go directly at a bunch of potential bad immigrant jokes, and they've put their reputation on the line to ask me to trust that they're not going to. I didn't watch Bob Love's Abba Yosh.
Me neither, because it's
Chuck Lorre, and
it's
that looks really
show.
bad to trust him with that
looks
subject matter.
Borderline racist.
And so by having this show, the names attached to it and everything, you're asking me to trust that you're going to take this many potential trope jokes and do something really great with it. And Cal Penn really honestly adds that expectation to it as well. Like, I remember him laying out of acting to go work for the Obama administration.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I like this dude. I don't think he'd be in a show that is punch down at immigrants. And so while that was a lazy joke, I don't think it was too terribly mean handled.
Right.
But it shouldn't have been lazy at all, and it undercut that trust.
And that's the thing. You can have your heart in the right place and not be funny. And in sitcoms, that's a sin.
Yeah, that's still death. Yeah. So I liked it enough to see where it'll go.
Same.
And like exactly like Kyle said, the parts that hit, fucking hit. Like I got a couple of good laughs out of this show, which is more than a lot of sitcoms. I mean, according to Jim, ran how long?
Yeah.
Is it still on?
No, thank God it's over.
Well, I was going to say, I actually got more laughs out of this than Perfect Harmony.
Really, did you?
Yeah.
I think there were laughs throughout Perfect Harmony for me.
Oh, no, it was the same thing where you're like judging the show while you're watching it, but you're still like, okay, I'm really enjoying these parts.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility that Sunnyside becomes something we really like.
Yes, I think you're right. I'm not giving up on it.
I'm not writing it off yet.
I'm more excited to watch Perfect Harmony next week.
Same.
Here's the question. Which one's going to be left at the end of this? Like,
Yeah.
let's assume one of them doesn't make it. Like,
I mean, we really have no way of knowing at this point.
I know.
Who knows?
Let's
I think
flip a coin.
shows below a certain rating should have to just combine.
Sunnyside and Perfect Harmony together. I like it.
You know,
You
Or,
mean
I mean,
like
yeah.
the parliamentary?
Yeah, like literally
parliamentary
anything that
system?
hits. Like if your numbers match at the cancel week, you can choose instead to combine. Like, well, we're both at 27%. Like, yeah, but I'm Law and Order SVU and you're Sunnyside. Yes, it's gonna get weird.
I am a fan of this possibility. All right, gentlemen, you ready for moral dessert?
Let's do it.
Oh,
All right.
been waiting.
Good Place, season 4, final season. What do we think?
This show can. I mean, I can't possibly imagine what the show is going to do from episode to episode
Yeah.
at any point from the very first from the pilot. So honestly, I feel completely unqualified to judge whether or not it's doing this right or not. Like, I sit down for a new Good Place episode and just accept whatever the fuck happens because, man, I don't know. It's just crazy. I really am liking them bringing in that the bad place has gotten to pick their people and has picked them expressly to screw with them.
Yeah.
To the point of picking a demon.
The demon thing was so good because it starts off as, look, they just picked somebody boring. And
Which
then,
I'm like, this is brilliant. That would drive me insane.
Yeah.
To have this woman there.
And then this is what the Good Place always does. They set up one thing and then they pull the rug out from underneath you and they do something else. And so when she just starts punching people and flying around, I was dying.
And then of course when it gets revealed to be Luke Golden,
Yeah.
who we've interviewed for TV Dudes
Yeah.
before, who just peels his shirt off and hits the gym.
Yeah. Also, there's a little bit in there, and they talked about this in the Good Place podcast this week that almost didn't make the cut, and I'm so glad it did, where Eleanor, even though Eleanor is now like the boss and she's evolved into something else other than the Arizona trash bag she's always been, Arizona trash bag still lurks in her. Because when he pulls it off and he's like, my shirt's stuck to the costume, she's like, you just leave it there. And then she gives this look. Sure, he's a demon, but he's hot.
He's so
and Eleanor can't stop looking at that. And that's such a great little moment.
It's wonderful.
I loved on the podcast, they said when that actor came on set and took his shirt off, somebody on the crew went, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, talking to him about not just being in shape, but being in that level of shape.
Yeah.
And staying ready is crazy. Because no one stays in that level of shape.
Yeah.
But people who cut for like bodybuilding competitions, the Saturday you're doing that bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of got to be ready for like, oh, I got a callback. I guess I'm doing Good Place next week.
Yeah.
Good thing I haven't eaten any Like, you got to stay a little ready.
Well, and the hydration is a big thing. You just drink too much water and you don't look like
You don't
that
look like
anymore.
that. Yeah, because like I'm sure on the random Tuesday that I was talking to him, like wherever he was, if he peeled his shirt off, he still looks way, way better than me.
Yeah, sure.
But it was kind of comforting to know that like, oh no, this is your day job. Like his job is showing up on set and looking like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's my job.
Also,
nuts to me.
One of the things that the Good Place always pulls some things I don't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Simone being a problem.
Yes.
I did
my
not
God.
see that coming.
She's rocking those foam fingers though.
Such a unique way to go because we know Simone's a good person. We got to know her, and I'm so glad that what's her name? Kirby. Oh man, I'm blanking on her name.
Back.
Oh yeah, I didn't put it in here. I'll have it in a second.
I love her, and I'm so glad she's back. But we know from experience that she's smart. She's pretty well put together. Like she's more put together than any of the other cast members as far as mentally and so the fact that she is a problem because of that exact problem, she's like, oh no, none of this is real.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby Howell Baptiste.
And she knows, like, she's not like, oh, I'm just going to fuck with people. She's like, She had a sense of humor. We knew that from when she messed with Chidi in the MRI machine along with Eleanor. And we know that she's a good person, but we also know that she's smart and she doesn't believe in this afterlife bullshit.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's there, she's like, yeah, no, none of this is real, and I like pranking people, so I'm not hurting anyone.
Yeah.
Because you're all imaginary. And so this is just me having fun while I die. It's such a optimistic nihilism. And it's such a great the frustration with Eleanor moves her from one emoji to the other is so perfect. She's like, damn it, we thought we had one thing.
I love the continued use of Derek.
Yeah.
That Derek helped make all the people that they've got going in their fake good place now. And having been rebooted all these times has made him somewhat smarter.
But still broken.
But still Derek.
Yeah.
I have been Dereked.
And
Derek is me.
Him making that gimlet
with the onion.
It's just one whole onion in a martini glass with a tiny onion stuck through it.
Yep.
And then he just bites the glass.
Yeah.
Like him being Jason trying to be a grown up and like, hey man, I know you're really about Janet and everything, but I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Derek's like, that's great. I will destroy you.
He's the perfect foil for Jason because they're both dumb and broken, but generally likable.
Yes, and dumb and broken in different ways. It's so like
also, anytime you put Jason Mantzoukas in your show, you just put him in your show.
Yeah, and stand back.
Yeah, he's going to bring
we watched
something.
him at ATX Television Fest with like Nick Kroll
Oh
trying to
God.
get a word in the league thing. You can't be on. If you are in a scene with him, you need to be ready or you won't get to fucking talk.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah, Mantzoukas is amazing, and I'm glad they've continued to use him. And
he's so perfect in this.
Also, the Eleanor Chidi stuff. I think there was such a great poignant ending to season 3. And to have this thing where basically she's got to save humanity,
she's got to
possibly let her ex fall in love with the woman he knows that he has chemistry with. Like that's a harsh moral dilemma that they are putting her through.
What I love about that storyline is whenever Maya Rudolph is on screen, it's like her character's job is to point out like what anguish Eleanor is in right now. Like what is she saying? It's like that booty's still hot or something like that. Yeah,
also,
she's really great.
Speaking of, Maya Rudolph is just like Mantzoukas. Yeah. Just put her in a show and let her go. You're going to be happy because her whole thing about I'm about to get into Deadwood. She's this omniscient judge, but she's still super into TV.
Yeah, so she binged NCIS, I think.
She could be a TV dude.
Do you guys, real quick, you want to hear my top 12 references list from this episode?
Go for it.
All right, number 1, Robert Downey Jr. Number 2, 1877 Cars for Kids.
Oh yeah, so good.
Number 3, Law and Order SVU, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yep.
Then you got Shirley Temple and JFK, Captain Marvel, Nelson Mandela, Patrick Stewart, Blake Bortles.
If you say Blake Bortles, I'm going to be so mad.
It's if you say Blake Bortles, I'm going to punch. I'm going to hit you a lot.
Semi-Charmed Kind of Life. Darth Vader's dildo.
Oh God.
Oh, that's right.
They didn't say dildo. Deadwood, obviously. And even though they didn't say it, I'm going to call this one Green Bay Packers. That was the cheesehead.
Yeah, that was definitely a Packers reference.
Oh yeah.
Also, we didn't even talk about the new guy.
Oh,
yes. The new
His
mansplainer
name is Brent Norwalk.
That thinks Janet's his secretary. Oh, I'm sorry, administrative assistant.
The great thing is they had to get the same level of evil. And this guy is really... He's the same level like Eleanor is. He just doesn't. He's not a bad guy.
He's just a trash bag.
He's just a trash bag. Yeah. I mean, yes.
You guys have golf here? You better.
You better have golf. He's just the kind of person you'd want to push into a big lake and hold down until the bubble stopped. But not because he's evil, just because he's so fucking annoying.
He's just the worst sales douche ever.
Yeah, and doesn't bring anything to the planet. Like if you had one less of that guy, the world is way better off.
He had the best joke in the whole episode, I think. The whole class president, crew captain. I hung out with all those guys.
Yeah. It tells you everything you need to know. They talk about this in the podcast too. That basically he's full of it. And he is that guy who carries himself with the confidence of a mediocre white man. So yeah, Good Place is back strong. And I recommend people watch The Selection, which is a series of mini episodes. I think it's like 6 episodes, maybe 15 minutes total. That is all about Sean and his demons. how they came up with these people to put in the experiment.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Can I share a little Easter egg I found?
Yeah.
So the woman who we find out at the end of the episode is actually from The Bad Place.
Yeah.
The character's name is Linda Johansson, and they make a joke. Oh, she's from Norway? What's that? Like their version of Florida? So Linda Johansson is actually a real-life Norwegian businesswoman. I don't know what her connection is to the writers of the show or why they put her in there, but I was like, this is an actual person.
Well, that's fall TV so far, and I got to say, this is one of the stronger years we've seen in a while.
I really didn't expect it to be.
Because I was looking, I didn't either.
I don't mean that to sound super cynical or shitty. It's not like I have some like, all TV's going to suck. I watched 20 minutes of upfront commercials, and I mean, y'all heard me go through maybe the bitterest thing I've said on a podcast in a year was that upfront rundown.
Yeah.
Because it all sounded formulaic as hell.
It did. I wasn't excited about any of this stuff. I wasn't planning on watching most of it.
I think I called All Rise Lady Judge because seriously, like how you got to differentiate it from Other Judge. Like all of them look so fucking formulaic.
But as I look back at what we had in the last few years, and this is the strongest season we've had in at least 3 years, maybe more.
Yeah, a lot of these shows, I genuinely want to see what they get to do with it next. I feel like the people that are showing up to work on these should be proud of their work and are doing good stuff. Even if these shows don't necessarily continue on, I'm really, really surprised with how funny I found something. I think, as we mentioned before, Nick Budd, I think he's like, hey, man, sitcoms might be back. What the shit?
It makes me think that the development people and whoever's in charge at 3 of the 4 major networks know what they're doing. We haven't seen Fox, but those Fox upfronts were among the worst.
Oh my God, none of the Fox stuff's come out yet.
Yeah.
Maybe they're calling it. Maybe they're just calling it.
I have a feeling Fox is going to live down to our expectations. We shall see.
All right, come on,
Disney
Fox.
up. Hey, you want any TV stuff?
You like a TV?
We're selling a couple.
So, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this rundown of Fall TV 2019. And until next time,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.